but the motor broke down.
Oh my god.
On that trip. So in that case, it's nice to be a sailboat because you can always use your sails.
Oh my god. Hey, it's Sarah, and you're listening to Travel Like You. This is a very special episode, first because it's entirely recorded outside, far from any kind of studio, and second because I'm on a travel volunteering trip in Greece on the island of Kos, which is just off the coast of Turkey. I'm with my new Danish friend Luna, who joins us to talk about what we're up to here, and most importantly, about her time sailing across the Atlantic Ocean. Hi, Luna.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
You're welcome. So, I'm Luna. I'm 26 years old. I just arrived at Kos 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah. And I am supposed to be here for 10 weeks. And I'm studying tourism and hospitality management in Denmark. And it's my bachelor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It would be the equivalent to a bachelor's degree in the US.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you came here to do this internship to learn more about hospitality, to learn more about working in this kind of environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have my own little dream of mine of opening a small bed and breakfast in Denmark. So I thought this place would be kind of cool because it's also family owned, and I really get to learn a lot of stuff like behind the scenes, and I can ask all of them for anything. So that's kind of cool, just to be, have that much,
Like to be involved in it.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You're not like a cog in the machine, we would say. Like in a corporate environment, if you were working at like a big hotel or something like that, you would just be like an ant in an ant colony. You would be a tiny intern, whereas here, like you have a big role actually.
Exactly. They let me do a lot of stuff already within the first week. I had like to be alone in the reception and check in guests and show them around the site. I was pretty nervous at first, but I feel like it's good that they let me do this stuff on my own and just figure it all out. And now I'm pretty comfortable already in 2 weeks, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and we were both kind of thrown into it. So for context, we both got here around the same time, I think within like 2 days of each other. And it's a glamping site, so people are staying in tents and things like that. So it's not a hotel or even a hostel. It's very unique in that regard. And so the day that I arrived, I showed up at midnight and I was on the breakfast shift at 6:30 the next morning. And you worked the next day too, right?
Yeah, I arrived at 6 in the evening and I got my tent. I would say, so the volunteer place is, we call it the slums. I was kind of shocked at first, but well, we fixed a lot of the stuff when we came. That was nice. So now it's pretty nice being there. But yeah, I had to work 7:30 the next day as well. So that was a little rough start, I would say. But yeah, people are very nice, and there are a lot of other volunteers here. A lot of young people also being staff, and they have been here for the last 3 years, I think. So a lot of them are pretty
like experienced.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is too, everyone's so nice. There's no drama. I almost expected to walk in and think it was going to be kind of like if you've ever seen the show Below Deck.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Below Deck, and I thought exactly the same. I was like, oh, so many young people all working and staying at the same place, and in our like off time, like our spare time, we also spent with each other. So it could easily be like dramatic and stuff. But for now, it's all good.
Yeah, so far so good. Like Luna said, when we arrived, we were under the impression, right? Okay, this is glamping, so we thought we were going to be in these nice tents and things like that. That is not the case. We are more camping. We're in this like back area, which unfortunately had the nickname for a long time, the slums, but it sort of paints the right picture of what we're dealing with. I was very shocked when I was sort of just dropped in the middle of this pitch black sort of sandy lot at midnight, and then went into this military style tent to find it just like covered in dirt on the ground and like fans, like broken fans and stuff, and they're like, okay, here's your sheets and your towels, and that sounds really awful, but like Luna just said, we did clean it up a lot. And that was sort of our initiative too.
Yeah.
We said things could be better.
Yeah.
So we got on that pretty quick, and we are living in close quarters. I mean, there's only like 2 bathrooms, 2 showers. Everybody pretty much shares a tent with somebody. And like you said, you have people here who are staff now that started as volunteers a few years ago, and they keep coming back. So it really shows that this family business has a reputation for treating their people well. I mean, people come and go, people have different experiences here, but so far, like, everyone who I've seen as staff here really appreciates what we've got, because we're fed, we're not necessarily paid, but we stay here for free, and then we get to just enjoy this beautiful island. After just a few hours of work a day, we have like all morning or all afternoon and night to just lay on the beach or go into town, eat delicious Greek food. So tell me, you're originally from Denmark. You're from which city in Denmark?
So the city is called Åbenrå. So it's south of Jutland, close to Germany. But I live in Aarhus.
Okay.
So that is the second largest city in Denmark. Kind of like a study city.
Okay.
Most people living there comes from small cities around Denmark to just go and study.
Okay. And why did you decide to come here and do this kind of internship? With the degree you're working on, you needed to do an internship in hospitality. But why did you choose Greece? Why did you choose Kos?
So the internship was like our own kind of, we had to find our own internship place. There wasn't a list or anything. We could just get in contact with whoever we wanted. And I was just looking up, like, I wanted to go to another country just because, well, why not? I get a scholarship, like the Erasmus scholarship, to be here, and I get food and stuff. So I was like, okay, it's kind of traveling, but, well, I have to stay here, but I don't really have to pay anything for go and have a new experience. And also I wanted to be better at English and try. I've never traveled on my own before. I've always had like a friend or my boyfriend or someone with me. So this was also like a new thing for me to try something on my own.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different, things I wanted to try out, and I found this place on one of the Erasmus. They have like a website, and it was on there, and I found their email and just sent an email, and they replied pretty quickly, and
It feels like very serendipitous. It kind of has all of the things that you were looking for in one package.
Yeah, exactly. And I also looked at places like this that would have young people like me coming to work, so I would make some friends.
Yeah, because 10 weeks is a really long time by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was thinking of finding like a small bed and breakfast in Italy in the mountains or something like that, just because of like the romantic picture of it. But then I was thinking, if it was just like this Italian mama and her 2 kids or something, I would literally be so lonely. So I was like, nah, might not do that.
No, it seems like you really found the best fit for what you were looking for. And similarly, when I was looking for mine, I knew I wanted to go to Greece because I'd heard through my other friends and things like that, through different travel volunteer sites, that there were a lot of opportunities to do things like that here. I've always wanted to visit Greece. Maybe I was also a little inspired by Mamma Mia and like the romanticism of like, wow, the beaches and the blue water and da da da.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never necessarily been a big beach person, what with the fact that I burn. But I figured I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to meet new people and travel and do work that I'd never done before. So like I've never worked in a restaurant before. I've never done housekeeping or anything like this. And so it really checked all the boxes too. And the fact that we're surrounded by people our age from like 18 to people in their 30s all here and the fact that it's a family. Like I also didn't want to be like a cog in the machine. So I understand like wanting to have your own bed and breakfast one day and then working for a family. Like we cannot stress enough how much of a family business this is. Like I think it's the definition. I don't know if you want to explain like the family tree, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it's the family tree is, I didn't know that there would be so much family. I thought, so we have our boss, Alexi, and his wife, Maddie, and they have 2 children. And then Maddie's brother is here, and Maddie's mom is also here, and they're working in the kitchen. And Alexi's dad, he is also here. And even like extended family comes and hangs out and works, like just because they want to be of help. Like Maddie's aunt and uncle came and were helping out and playing music, and it's such a family atmosphere. And Alexi and Maddie's children are babies, you know, they're 2 and 4, so you've got kids running around and you've got people in their 60s and 70s. You've got everything in between, and the environment in general, like the ambiance is very like family. The guests who come are couples or families with children, young families. But yeah, so the atmosphere is just really like chill and calm. And after work, we lay in the hammocks, or we go in the pool, or we jump in we go walk down to the beach. And there's mountains in the background, like in every direction you look. The sunsets are gorgeous. We walk down the road to the beach, and we can pick figs off the tree, like fresh figs off the tree. There's olive trees. It's literally out of a movie. Yeah, it's so amazing. We went the other day on the beach to watch the sunset. It was so beautiful, like completely red, and just go down like the ocean and the mountain in front of it. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
So before we jump into your stories, I did want to ask for a no context story. So I've told you what that means. You get a one-liner, and you have time to think about whether you want to share the context or not. You are free to give no other details, but if you'd like to just give me one line from your travels for your no context story.
Yes, so I have one story that is pretty weird. I kind of got forced into a bikini contest in Australia, and I was wasted. So
oh my god, okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, all right, we'll see if we get the context for that later.
Yes.
But we'll see about that. Alrighty, so moving on to your sailing stories. So is this something that you've been doing your whole life? Are you a big sailor, or?
So no, not really. But I've met my boyfriend that must have been 8 years ago.
Okay.
And back then he had a dream of going on a circumnavigation. And for people who don't know what that is, it's like you have your own sailing boat, and then you have guests come on board, and you sail around the world.
Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah. And he had that dream He's been sailing his whole life since he was a little kid. He watched this television program, like a Danish program of this family, pretty famous family. They have been sailing around the world. So I guess the dream was kind of from that program, and everybody have seen it.
Okay.
Every Danish person would know who that family is. And also, his family had a boat in Denmark, in the city we lived in. So we would go on summer sailings around Denmark, and that was where I learned to sail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was it like? Why did you agree to go?
I think the reason that we went on this sailing trip, we signed up to cross the Atlantic with another boat. It was because Peter bought his own boat in 2018, and we were getting ready for the boat, like saving money and like prepping stuff. We had to buy like solar systems and all that shit. Yeah. And doing the prepping, we hadn't ever been on like a longer sailing trip. We have never sailed during nights or anything. So when we were getting ready for our own trip, we actually was thinking about, well, maybe we should try it. We should do the ultimate thing before doing it ourselves.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a test, if you can say that.
Yeah.
To see, are we even capable of, do we even think it's cool?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
do we even like this thing?
Before you jump into literally sailing the entire world, why not cross an ocean?
Exactly. So that was, and also that at the same period of time, COVID hit.
Oh yeah.
So that was in 2020, and we thought, okay, it might be pretty difficult to sail. Well, you have to declarate in each country, and you have to get COVID tests like all the time. And if we need to get guests to go in and out all the time, it would be so difficult. So also we thought, okay, maybe we'll just wait a year and then we will travel on our own.
So there's just like trips like this that happen. And was it like a Danish company or something like that? You did some research, you found a boat that was already going to cross the Atlantic, and you were like, let's be one of those people that joins.
Exactly. So a lot of Danish people actually doing this.
Oh, really?
It's pretty common.
That's crazy.
So we found this boat. It was a Danish couple from Copenhagen, and they had just an Instagram and a website, I think. Peter found them on Instagram, and we thought they looked nice, and they were looking for people to join them on the crossing. So we just sent like a application, kind of like who we were and what our dreams was, and
wow, that's so cool.
All that, and we talked to them like FaceTime. And then we got like a seat, or what do you call it?
Yeah, you got your spots on the boat.
Exactly. Wow. So that was and then we were supposed to join them in November, I think. Yeah.
November 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was just our like start date, and then when we crossed the Atlantic, we were, I think, January. Would be the end, kind of.
Okay, so you started. It was how long did it take?
So we got on the boat, and then we had 2 weeks of fixing stuff and getting ready, buying a lot of food. You have to stock up more than you need, because you'll never know how long your trip will be, and
that's terrifying.
Yeah, but we sailed from the Canary Islands to Cape Verde Islands, and normally it would take like 4 days, but there was no wind, so we had to sail with the motor. But the motor broke down,
Oh my god.
on that trip. So the only thing in that case, it's nice to be a sailboat because you can always use your sails.
Oh my god.
So it took us, I think, 7 or 9 days, and the wind was like this, not existing right now. You
Yeah.
know, so the boat would just like be like this and
rocking?
Yeah,
my
and
gosh.
the sails would just smack because there was no wind to like push it. So it was a pretty long trip to the Cape Verde Islands, and also it was we didn't know if we could cross because of the motor. When you don't have a motor, it's not the best.
Ideally, you want your boat to have a motor.
Yeah.
But, like, because this is modern times. Like this, where you're not crossing the Atlantic in the 1800s.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was. Yeah, that was kind of weird for us because we were happy to get and land on Cape Verde, but we didn't know if we could actually cross. But our captain, he talked to his insurance and stuff, and they said that it was fine. We were allowed to cross.
So, how did you feel? What were you thinking when you're like, they're like, oh, there's not going to be a motor, but it's fine.
Well, we didn't know that the motor would break.
Yeah.
So obviously we left the Canaries thinking everything was fine.
Oh, it broke.
It broke on the sea.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What did you say when you found out?
There's not much to do. Like, you're stuck in the middle of the ocean. So you would just... Yeah, the captain was really cool, and he was like,
Okay.
everything will be alright. We will be there at some point. We'll just have to be patient.
Okay.
And then we just got the best out of it. That trip was also, we got to see dolphins, and we got to see whales, and we got to see like just beautiful, I have to see what it's called, like this.
Whoa. Okay, it says, okay, so Luna was just looking up on Google this Danish word, and it translates to, I think, what did it say? Milky Seas effect? What does it say here? Yeah. What is it in Danish?
Moil.
Okay.
Pretty.
But yeah, the equivalent in English, it says Milky Seas effect. And so how did you describe it? What would you say happens to the sea?
It's like kind of an animal, I think, that is
I see a word in Danish that looks like bioluminescence, and so it's like this creature or this
like organism
in the sea that glows.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, it looks incredible. It
Yeah.
looks like the stars are in the ocean.
Exactly. It's so beautiful. So when you touch, we were on a boat, so when we sailed in the ocean, it would be like all light blue, like looking like stars going through. It's something with the heat during the day. I think it warms up and then something happens. It's like a nature phenomenon kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's so cool.
That was so cool because we had to see like a lot of cool nature phenomenons.
Yeah.
And all these wild animals like dolphins in the open sea, like huge, groups of dolphins that would come to the boat and swim next to it. It was beautiful. Yeah.
And so it was supposed to only take 4 days, but it took how long?
I can't really remember, but I think it was 7 or 9. More like 9. It felt like 9.
It felt like 9.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
So, did you feel ready before doing this?
I was actually terrified, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was thinking of like, will the waves just be huge? Like, how do we even manage to sail? You can't really picture it. So like when we sailed from the Canaries to Cape Verde the first day, I was so scared, but there wasn't any wind, so the sea would just be totally flat. And I wasn't scared of that because I've been sailing in Denmark, so that would be the same. So when we were out there, I was like, okay, if it's just this, then it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. And then, you know, the days went by and I was like, okay, I can cross the Atlantic. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Wow.
It's a big step for me. And then at Cape Verde, we were there for, I think, almost a week because of the motor. They tried to fix it there. The captain was educated as like a boat builder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he knew what to do. And we also had one of the other guests. He was a marine engineer as well. So they should be able to fix it.
Yeah, you were with all the right people.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense. And so what did your day-to-day look like on the boat? Like from first day to last, what was your day-to-day like?
So we had different shifts. We were 9 people on board, and the captain and his girlfriend, they decided before leaving Denmark that they wouldn't buy an autopilot, and you normally have one to steer the boat so you can sleep and stuff. But they said that, well, we will be 9 people at all time, so we should be able to steer it ourselves. Okay. So we would have shifts where we had 1.5 hours to be on watch to see if there would be any boats coming to us or anything like traffic. Obviously, there's no traffic out of the Atlantic. There are other boats, and sometimes we saw some boats like in the horizon, but nothing really else.
No potential crashes.
No.
No risk of that.
No. I think I would come up to watch 1.5 hours, but just be like company. The other 1.5 hours, I would be the one steering the boat, and another person would come and be my watch. And then you have this like little ball kind of.
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
compass.
Like a compass, yeah.
Yeah, but it's round, and it was in front of you, so you couldn't see anything because it's only sea and sky.
Yeah.
So you couldn't like look at the horizon. And normally in Denmark we would find something to steer toward. Yeah. But out in the ocean there's nothing. So that is not an option.
It's pitch black. It's pitch black. Oh my gosh, you're right. I've seen videos online of and they put that like horrible like sea song behind it. It's like yo, and then it's just like terrifying.
Yeah.
Did it feel like that?
No.
Good.
Well, some of the last days out there. So the trip from Cape Verde to the Caribbean, that took us 17 days.
Okay, so the original idea was 4 days just to get to Cape Verde.
Yeah.
And then you cross the Atlantic.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So all we've discussed then is really just the short trip. What happened on the long trip?
The funny thing is, I didn't expect it to be so huge a part of the sailing, but the fishing was a huge deal. So one of the guys that was on board, Mads, he basically just went to cross the Atlantic to go fishing. That was his main goal. For me, it was like a person, like, you know,
A personal goal, like
Yeah.
a huge deal.
yeah, to be like out in nowhere and finding myself and like all these things. And Mads, he was just there to go fishing. It was so fun. So he would buy so much equipment from the Canary Islands. He went to all these fishing stores, bought I don't even know what. I have never fished in my whole life, but we fished. And I mean, it was kind of the thing where it was so exciting when the line would just, even if you were down in your cabin sleeping, you could hear the line like just went, and everybody would just yell like, "There's a fish!" And people would just be running up to the cockpit, and he had bought like this belt where he could like take the fishing pole, put it on his like stomach kind of, and then he would just sit and
Reel it in.
Wheel it in, yeah. One of the days, so Mass's biggest dream was to catch like a blue marlin, you know, the real, like the big ones.
Yeah.
And one day the wheel went off and you could see they have like this huge, it's a fin kind of, like on top of their, like a little sail kind of on top of the water, and it would just jump out of the water and you could just see it was the size of a human. It was in fucking insane. And I had no idea that fish could be that big. I was like, I thought only it would be small fish, or it would be a whale or a shark or something like that. But apparently you can fish these huge fish.
They're like monster fish. They're gigantic. You're right. I guess when you think of fish, you think of like little fish, and then you think of sharks and whales.
It's insane. It was insane. But yeah, I think they spent almost an hour just battling this huge fish. Wow. It was not a blue marlin, but it was like in the family. We found out it was a spearfish, so it would have like this spear.
Yeah, like this long,
like a sword kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. People were running around the boat, getting like cameras and GoPros and just to film it all and get like, you can just hear the captain, he was like, find a big knife, and
whoa.
It was and I've never do like hunting or anything like that, so for me it was like I got kind of, you know, because I felt a bit sorry for the fish.
Oh, I see.
So it's like I was sad but also happy because this was Mass's biggest dream.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting because everybody was so excited. I guess it was.
How could you not also participate and be excited?
Yeah, exactly. So, they got the fish up on the boat and they had a little fight with it. Mass got a scar, like a battle scar on his leg, and he was like, that's kind of cool. And they killed it, and we all got pictures with the fish. I think it was 2 meters.
Wow.
I don't know what the weight was, but we had to eat fish for, I think, over a week. That was...
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. But you get kind of tired of eating fish. And you're not supposed to say that because it's like the freshest fish you can get.
Yeah.
It's like in that way, but well, at some point it's
How did you prepare it?
They cut it out for like steaks, and they also made like fish. In Danish, it's called like meatballs.
Okay.
Of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and would make like Thai meatballs with fish, and they would make normal. And we had in Denmark, we eat a lot of rye bread. Rye bread, yeah. So we had that, and then we put it on bread, kind of like a lunch thing. Yeah. So a lot of different, and a casserole also with fish, and ceviche also, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was quite a bit of diversity of recipes.
Yeah. Okay. We used what we had left. I think we catched it like kind of in the middle of the Atlantic. Yeah.
Would you say that was the most exciting part of the trip?
Yeah, I think so. But we had things going on. Like each day, someone would turn up at the cockpit, and we'd be like, "I've made a Jeopardy we can do." Or tomorrow, let's do this painting thing, or just stuff like that. Listen to music, and I did a lot of crosswords, just hanging out. And so the thing is, I found out I got really seasick.
Oh my god.
So during the whole trip, I would eat the seasickness pills.
Yeah.
And you get so dizzy. Like,
yeah.
So most of the time when I was not on my shift, I would sleep or just sit and be like dizzy kind of.
Yeah. And
just,
like sleepy, like drowsy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh man. But you still got to do the activities and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there.
Yeah.
And I had fun. So it was a good trip. When I think back at it, I'm like, Oh, it was so nice. Look at pictures of like, it's because it's also, when you think about it, you put 9 people together. It's like putting 9 people together inside a house for 17 days, and they are not allowed to go out. It's kind of like the same thing because you could not go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's a weird like bond to get to each other because we did this thing together. And that would stick with us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So
do you still keep in touch with the people that you met there?
Some of them, yes. The captain and the girlfriend, they just actually this summer was finished with the circumnavigation. So
wow.
Yeah. So they've been sailing for a long time.
Wow.
They just sold their boat and they went back to Copenhagen and they were invited us all to like this big come together party with all the guests they've had for the last 4 years.
Wow.
But unfortunately, no one had time to come because it was kind of last minute thing.
Yeah.
So they told us they would host a big party next year.
Okay.
So hopefully everybody will come.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so they did it. They went around the entire world on a boat.
Not the entire world. They went from Denmark to Australia because most people don't go all the way because it's pretty dangerous to go through from Africa up the Mediterranean. So the Suez Channel.
Okay.
So there's a lot of pirate and stuff.
Okay.
So it's not that safe to go that way. And if you will go the whole way, you have to sail beneath Africa.
Okay.
And that's a really long trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not a lot of people are doing that.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed, you know. No. But that's still incredible. And it took them how long? You said 4 years to do it all?
Yeah. Okay. 4 years. And they sailed during a lot of COVID. So I think they were, I don't know if they were stuck, but kind of stuck in the Caribbean. After we left, they would have to get a new motor. So they were there for almost a year, I think.
Okay.
But they still have had guests, and they were sailing with other Danish boats as well. So they had like a group.
Okay. Wow. Wow, that's so cool.
It was a big decision for me and Peter because we would have to figure out if we wanted to go sail on our own boat when we were done. And Peter was, I think he's kind of born to be sailing. He is, yeah, he loved it. And I was pretty seasick, and I had like this feeling of it was so cool doing it, but I would not do it again.
Okay.
Like, cross these big oceans and being like out in the middle of nowhere for so long. So we made a deal that he asked his friend Steve if he wanted to join him, like his co-captain kind of thing. And then they would sail from Denmark all the way down Europe to the Canary Islands, cross the Atlantic, and then I would join in the Caribbean. And we did that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we did our own circumnavigation.
Okay.
Just in the Caribbean.
Okay.
But all of the trip was, we had guests coming. We would be 6 people on the boat at the time. And then they would change every second month. We would have new people coming in.
So you went from being guests on one trip to being hosts on the other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
We would have guests coming in and join us for all these fun things and help us sail around and just be a part of our life. It's like you have like this small community where you just become friends, and we had to do like basic stuff like cleaning and make dinner and go get groceries and stuff. So we had to have like this daily routine. But you kind of just...
Are there like prerequisites? Like, do you have to have certain skills or anything to do it?
some boats demand that you have some kind of experience, but most boats don't. Me and Peter, we didn't expect people to know how to sail, and we didn't expect them to want to learn as well. We would just be like, if they had like an interest, and if the chemistry kind of was there, we would like have them. Some people were just laying around reading books, and they didn't even care how we went from one island to another. Then it was just me and Peter sailing, or Steve. And others, they wanted to learn about everything and had thousands of questions. And Peter loved that. He loves like to teach about sailing, so that was cool as well.
What did you do in the Caribbean?
So it was more like island hopping kind of thing, and luckily the COVID was pretty much done. We saw a lot of islands. We took a scuba diving certificate in the Guadeloupe Islands.
Wow.
And went snorkeling, going to a lot of beautiful beaches, did a lot of hiking, we went to one of the famous carnivals on Grenada. That was really cool. Also, like sailing life, it sounds, everything is like, wow, it's so cool, and you see all these places and dolphins and scuba diving, but sometimes it's pretty harsh. Like, we had this one trip where it was only Peter, Steve and me, and Steve's brother, he would come with airplane at another island, and we had like 3 days before he would arrive, and we were in the island Antigua, and he would arrive on the island St. Martin, so we had to sail. But the weather window was horrible, so we had to sail in kind of not the nicest weather. Like, there wasn't rain or like the sun would shine, but the wind, it was about 10-11 meters in the second. I don't know how much that is in knots.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
I don't know anything about boats, so anyone listening who knows anything about boats,
it's pretty much like, it's kind of
very windy.
Very windy.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. But we sailed, and we just got out of the port, and Peter would like, I don't know what it's called.
Oh, he
but
twisted his knee.
He twisted his knee. Yeah. So he couldn't really stand up. And we couldn't really do anything about it. He was just putting some ice on it, and he would sail. And we went sailing in this wind, and I get seasick. So obviously I was puking the whole way, just being in my bed, feeling so sick. And suddenly there was water coming in to the boat as well. From the bottom of the boat, one thing suddenly broke. It wasn't like a lot of water, but it was still enough that we had to like sweep the floor.
Oh my god! So you were trying to get the water out, like there. So it was a leak.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like a small leak. So we could do something about it. Like, we could just fix it when we get to the next island. So it wasn't like terrible. Like, we were not sinking the boat or anything. It was okay. But at this point, Peter had like a twisted knee. I was puking. Water was coming in. And in the morning, when Steve was on his shift, in the Caribbean, they have like fish nets, but not fish nets, but like for lobsters. So they have like huge kind of cages on the bottom of the sea, so it's impossible to see. And the waves were like 2 meters or something.
Oh
so
God.
It would be like, you can see the buoy, but then not.
And then not
disappear.
anymore. Oh
so we sailed the boat into this cage because it was impossible to see, and it stopped the boat. It was like we were doing like 6 knots, and then we would go 2.
Oh my
I was
god!
like, what the fuck is happening? But we got out of this cage.
Yeah.
And nothing happened to the boat. It was like a small scratch. But all of this happened during like 24 hours.
Oh my god. All of
Yeah.
that happened in the same day?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Did at any point did you think you were going to sink, or like what was your fear level?
I would say from a scale from 1 to 10, I was at 6
Okay.
at some point. During the night, I hate sailing at nights. It's just terrifying because everything is, pitch black. And you have no clue on how to read. Normally you would read the weather like, oh, this cloud is in this way and maybe there will come some wind, maybe there will come some rain. But during the night you have absolutely no idea what's coming because you can't see anything. And I hate that. So during the night, while puking and all of this was going on, I was like, I don't want to be here right now. I want to be in a hotel room with air conditioning and just, not be here. But everything was fine. We got to the anchorage and we fixed the hole in the boat. And Steve, he dived under the boat to see if there was any scratches from the lobster cage thing. Luckily it was just like a small little scratch, so I guess it wasn't that bad. And we got to pick up his brother and Peter's knee was alright and everything was alright. Like we figured it all out, but sometimes it's not nice.
Oh my gosh. It can be, like you said, there's so much that could be unpredictable that you have to just prepare for. You have to get extra food. You have to figure everything out that could possibly happen before it does, and then just be prepared to deal with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh
It's
my God.
Yeah.
That is so scary.
Well, I can recommend doing it because it's really fun and you get to do like a lot of different things and you really get to learn people, like this volunteer thing where you get to live with people and do fun stuff when you're not working, and it's the same when you're on the boat. So when you're not sailing, you're going out for hikes or going to see like all the islands and stuff. So it's a really fun way of traveling, I think, and it is really popular to do when you're Danish. A lot of people are doing it.
That's so cool. And it's such a unique way to see the world. And if you like to be on a boat, it makes me want to try it. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm a little nervous. Maybe I'll do a little boat trip, and maybe I'll get those patches.
Yeah.
And then, because I definitely get motion sick, just in the car. So a boat would be a whole other story.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you've kind of convinced me, and especially because you didn't want to do it. Well, not that you didn't want to do it, but it was.
I was terrified. Yeah, literally. I didn't want to go, but I convinced myself that I'm strong and independent. I can do this, and I did. And when I put my feet on land for the first time in 17 days, I was like, "Damn, I actually did it!" Yes, and that was just like the best feeling ever. I love doing things like that when you actually achieve something. Doing your travels.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Like, not many people can say that they've done something like what you've done. And so, I can imagine you just felt so proud.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, well, Luna. Now that we've gotten here, we're reaching the end. Do you want to give your context? You have the right to say no. Do you want to give your context to your bikini competition?
No, I don't think so. I will let that be up to all of the listeners out there to figure it out on their own.
Let their imaginations run wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I will write it in the comments.
Only a privileged few will get to know really what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine with me. After this, do you have any other travel plans?
Well, next summer, actually, Peter and his brother bought a smaller boat, just for sailing in Denmark. So next summer we probably will be sailing to Sweden and see some of that. A couple of weeks, so more sailing for us.
You sound excited.
Yeah, yeah, I think it will be great.
Okay, good.
I've never sailed in Sweden, so
Okay.
I think that's nice. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Well, thanks, Luna. I can't wait to spend the next 2 weeks still doing this.
Yeah.
And then maybe one day take a sailing trip.
Yeah.